Okay, let's go ahead and take a look here on the inside. And seats extremely comfortable. It just hits me every time I get in these vehicles. It's like a dentist chair. You can go up and down and everywhere, and you have the lumbar support adjusted exactly where you want it since it's a four-way. Have plenty of leg room and knee room. I mean, my legs can go completely straight out, and just all around I'm really comfortable in this vehicle, especially with the cooled seats on because it's a nice warm day. So cooled seats help out with that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the window sticker here. So you can use the pause button to get some more information off of it if you want it. So you can see it has the optional equipment there. It's all standard until you get to the optional, and then you can see the prices besides that. There's your fuel economy and your safety stars and all that good stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and start here on the steering wheel. It's a leather wrap steering wheel with the red contrast stitching on the inside, but check it out. First thing I noticed was this Trailhawk name right here in the center. Awesome looking badge right there. Whoever designed that is just, they should deserve a medal or something. Okay, so the steering wheel is a good thickness. It's soft. It's kind of soft to where it gives in your hand, and it doesn't fatigue your hand on long driving trips or whatever. Really well designed steering wheel. And the buttons are well designed too. On the back of the steering wheel you can see your paddle shifters, your plus and minus here, and here are those silver buttons for cycling through your gear ratios. But just below that you have, if you can see that, you have the a toggle switch right here. Toggle switch with a center button. You have them on both sides, and they're designed where you have your hand on a steering wheel, your back fingers can do your volume. So the up and down is your volume, but the center button is for cycling through AM/FM, your source, your AM/FM satellite radio, so your audio source. On the left side of the steering wheel, you have the up and down, which changes through your stations. Then that up and down center button will go cycle through your presets, your favorites. So that's really handy because it keeps your eyes on the wheel, eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, and you can do your volume. You can do a bunch of stuff right there on the back of the steering wheel without, you can just feel it without actually seeing it. On the front of the steering wheel you have your cruise control on this side. It's really easy to use. On the left side you have your Bluetooth controls and your voice recognition. Now this vehicle, besides answering calls and hanging up on calls, you can use the voice recognition to make calls, but also you can use it to change the channel on the radio, go to specific addresses on the radio. You can do a lot of things in this vehicle with your voice, and this is another feature that keeps your eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. You're staying productive. You're sending and receiving text messages. You're sending and receiving calls. You're changing the station. You're going to navigation addresses. All that with your hands on the wheel. It's pretty neat. Okay, so these buttons right here correspond with this screen between the gauges, which we'll get to in just a second. Alright, so here's your windshield wiper controls for the front and rear on your turn signal. Okay, so here's your gauges. Now it has the gauge on the left for your RPMs. On the far right, at the top you have your engine coolant temperature. At the bottom you have your fuel gauge. But right here in the center, I don't know if you can see, it's actually a screen. So right now it's showing the outside temperature. It's showing the off-road 2, which is the height of the vehicle. The digital compass up here. Your odometer in the bottom center, and then you have a digital speedometer right there in the center. But check this out. Your digital speedometer can change. Just look, it can look like this or that depending on what you want. And this is actually part of a whole menu system. So you see these little icons here on the left side. I'm going to cycle through. I'm going to push down. So look at that, it changes. So now we're in the next menu selection. So this is your vehicle info. You see it has these little, shows your tire pressure, but as I go to the right, you see those little dots at the bottom showing that there's more choices. I can scroll through and get more temperatures and pressures, which is pretty neat. Scrolling down again, this is where letting us know what four-wheel drive selection we have. Also, the ground clearance is maximum right now. And there's your drivetrain, whether you're doing 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive. Then you have your wheel articulation, so what wheels are up and down. I think that's awesome. Alright, scrolling down again, we see your fuel economy, so you can get a real world view of your fuel economy as you're driving in the moment, or an average after you drive for a while. And there's your trip A. Trip B gives you your time, your miles per gallon, and your miles traveled. So this is your start-stop feature, or stop-start feature. This is the status of that, because this vehicle will be able to turn off the engine when you're stopped for prolonged periods of time, say at a stoplight or whatever, to save fuel. Now you can turn that feature off if you want to, but this is the status of that. Certain parameters have to be met for that to happen. This is what your radio is doing. Stored messages will show up here. And screen setup, this is where you can go in and change the things on the corner. So digital temp, the compass right now, but let's go ahead and change that. Let's change that to, you can have none. Let's change it to this is what I would go with, range. Let's go to range so we can see how many miles we can drive before we get gas. Then it goes back down to your digital speedometer. And of course you can change that back and forth. So that's kind of a quick rundown of your screen between the gauges, seeing what you can do with it, all while your hands are on the wheel, eyes on the road. So you can do a lot of stuff. Okay, here's your center stack, and I just want to emphasize the dashboard is soft, like a Nerf material. It's really soft and comfortable, and it's an anti-glare, so it's not going to shine and have the sun shining in your face or anything. I love this wood grain. I have it squeezed in here as well. Okay, so here's your 8.4-inch Uconnect system, and if you're not familiar with it, it has these icons across the bottom, similar to what you'd find on a phone or a computer or whatever, and so they're always there, so you can quickly go to a particular selection, really easy. Okay, so right now we're in the first icon, which is the radio, and you have AM, FM, satellite radio choices, your favorites there at the top, your presets. You can change your audio, like your bass, treble, that kind of stuff as well. You can direct tune with a little pad that pops up. Let's go to media. This is where you can play music through other devices, say USB, auxiliary input, Bluetooth audio, and SD card inputs as well. I'll show you where those are at in a second. Controls, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, and you can look at your backup camera without being in reverse, which is pretty neat. Let's go back out of that. Alright, so that's your controls. You also have a whole bunch of settings here. So I'm not going to go through every one of them because it'll take all day. So you can see all the different settings there. Let's look at the suspension settings. Alright, so that's your, raise and lower your suspension, which is pretty neat. Okay, so let's go to apps. So the apps screen, you have basically all the apps installed on here, and let's see here. Right now we have the navigation here, but let's go ahead and let's change that to the off-road pages. Let's try that. We could drag it down there, or we could try this one. That might be easier. There we go. I guess you got to hold it longer. So let's go back to the off-road pages and let's move that down. There we go. So you can basically change whatever you want in that place there to the icon that you want at that time. Next icon here is your climate control. So you have your fan speed, your temperatures on both in your driver and passenger, where you want the air to blow. You can recirculate the air, which I'm going to do now. And you can also have a quick link back to your heated and cooled seats and steering wheel as well. So this is pretty neat. Take a look at the off-road pages here. Let's see here. Not now. Let's just see what it looks like here without registering. Okay, this is pretty cool. You have your drivetrain. So you can see it's in 4-wheel drive high, rear differential is active. See the suspension here. So there's off-road 2, accessory gauges, That's pretty neat, so you can keep an eye on your transmission temperature and things like that as you're driving, especially in off-road conditions. You might need to do that. And then your select terrain, it's in automatic right now, but this is pretty neat, the off-road pages. Alright, so you also have this list right here. Let's go out of this, because let's go to the navigation. Let's find the navigation here, and let's put that back down there, because I want to show you the navigation screen, because that was originally there. So let's go ahead and push that. So this is where you can put in a specific address, or let's go ahead and push that so you can see. You can put in an address, you can save your home address, you can have all kinds of favorites. Let's look at the map. So there's the map. Now it's showing a truck on the screen, so this vehicle actually hasn't even been to a service department yet. So let's go ahead and change that for them. Let's go to settings. Let's go to map setup, vehicle icon, and let's change that to a Viper. There's a Challenger, Charger. There we go. Now we'll go with the Grand Cherokee. Alright, we'll accept that. There we go, that's better. Okay, so the last icon here is your phone. Once you pair your phone, you have access to recent calls, your phone book, and you'll have favorites there across the top. You'll also have the ability to transfer back to your cell phone, just in case you want to have a private call. So that's kind of a quick overview of the touchscreen here. Of course, you have some information here at the top. It's real easy to go into your clock settings, and the actual clock is synced up with the GPS. You don't have to set it unless you want to. You can unsync it with the GPS and set it, the exact way you want it. Alright, so you have the traditional volume knob, tune through the stations. Four-way flashers are here. The back button, I use that to get out of certain screens here. Screen off, in case the screen's just getting on your nerves or whatever, you can turn it off. You just touch the screen, it turns right back on. You have some redundant buttons for your climate control, your fan speed, your temperatures, and your air conditioning, recirculate the air, front and rear defrosters. Parking sensors, you can turn those off. You can turn off the stop-start feature. Eco mode, you can turn on or off. It's actually on until you turn it off. Sport mode, you could turn that on, so we can push that, and it shows this cool picture up here. Now that's changing the height of the vehicle too, because it's too high up. It's on the off-road version right now, so it's actually, you can see right here, it's actually changing the height, and you can barely see it. You can feel it though. I don't know if you can see in the rear view mirror. Actually lowering. It lowers the front and then the back and then the front and then back. It keeps alternating. Okay, so when you put it in sport mode, you're basically emphasizing that you want the highest performance. You don't care about fuel economy. So let's turn that off. It also turns off eco mode when you do that. And the traction control, in case you need to spin tires, let's say you're stuck in the mud or snow, you can turn the traction control off so you can spin tires. A little storage compartment here, but check it out. You have a 12-volt power supply. This ignition switch activated. When you turn the vehicle on, it'll turn on. And then you have your auxiliary USB and SD card inputs there. And check it out, they're backlit, so they're easy to find, easy to see, and they look cool too. That's a felt-lined pocket as well. There's your cup holders, and they are back. They have this ambient lighting around the outside too, which looks neat. It looks neat when you put a cup of water or a bottle of water in there. It eliminates all the water in it. It's pretty neat. Okay, so here's your shifter, and let's go ahead and shift it in reverse. Take another look at the backup camera. Now the backup camera has these guidelines which are active to where they'll move when you turn the steering wheel. So I'm turning the steering wheel now, and you can see them move around. Also, another thing that turns on when you put it in reverse is your parking sensors. You can see they're active as well. Continuing down, there's neutral, there's drive. This is your normal drive position. It's going to cycle through the 8 gear ratios for you. If you want to manually do it, you can of course use the paddle shifters. But if you I want to mention, if you do accidentally bump the paddle shifters, then you can push and hold the right one. It'll go back and drive. But if you want to manually do it here, you can move it here like a ratchet shifter, so you can raise and lower the highest gear level, the gear ratio. This is handy for not only cycle it through the gear ratios, but also if you need to downshift going down a hill or something. Okay, so here's your four-wheel drive controls. You have a four-wheel drive low, which is for super creeping through some heavy-duty off-road scenarios. Same thing with this off-road only, like a downhill descent button. It's kind of like a cruise control. It keeps you at a certain speed going downhill without allowing you to slide on whatever surface it is. So that's pretty neat. And then you have different options here that's telling the vehicle that, like, you're in snow, sand, mud, or rock. So it's gonna, act appropriately. I'm trying to think of the right words. Act appropriately for the conditions. So like say snow, it might start off in a higher gear, so it doesn't have all this torque. It's gonna ease you on the stuff like that. And you can make that selection here. You also have the ability to disengage the drive, the whole drive unit of the vehicle for flat towing. So you have this little neutral button right here. And there's a certain procedure to do that. It's not like you just push that button and it disconnects everything. Okay, so raising and lowering the vehicle is right here. So right now, we can go ahead and lower it some more. And this last light that flashes, that's your enter and exit mode. And then you have this normal mode, and then you have four-wheel drive 1 and four-wheel drive 2. So as you push the buttons, it takes a little while for it to raise and lower. So the lights will flash until it reaches an equilibrium, and then it stops like that. So if I want to go back up, I just push that. So right now it says air suspension system cooling down. So I guess using it too much right now. But it is going up. We have an indicator up here as well as it's raising. Okay, so now it went back up to that normal position there. Okay, so that's your four-wheel drive system and your air suspension system overview. Here's your armrest, and it's pretty good size, very soft and comfortable. It has the red contrast stitching there, and it's big enough to share with your passenger if you wanted to share it, if you're nice enough. Now it has two buttons under here, little one on the right side, big one on the left side. The little one opens up this, see if I can do it right. Yeah, there we go. Opens up this shallow pocket right here. This felt line, so you can put some small stuff in there. You also have a place for a tissue box or whatever back in here. Has a place for wires to go in and out of this compartment when you need to. And then opening up the larger size button opens up the larger size compartment here. It has a 12-volt power supply in there that is connected to the battery, so you don't have to worry about turning on the vehicle. You could charge your cell phone while you're in the store or something. But this is a nice big compartment. You can put some stuff in here, and it's felt lined. It also has a little light in there at nighttime, and it also has a place where wires can go in and out. So you have an auto dim rear view mirror, and it's auto dimming right now because I have this shade over this light sensor right in here. Also, the side mirrors are auto dimming as well. Both side mirrors auto dim. You also have these buttons here on the bottom. Now, this vehicle has its own cellular connection. So you have a 911 button. You can actually push that button and reach a 911 operator even if you don't have your cell phone with you or if your batteries are dead or whatever. So this has its own cellular connection. You also can get roadside assistance, same thing. So both of those buttons are available. You could turn on and off the auto dim feature by pushing that button. Okay, so right up in here you have a place to put your shades, and it has like this foam lining in it to protect them. And then you have some tap lights. There's more of a floodlight, and then this is more of a spotlight for reading. So same thing on that side. You have your home link garage door opener controls here. You also have the ability to open up your power lift gate right from here. These are for your sunroof, which we'll get to in just a second. Here's your visor, it has mirrors and lights in them. They also have the ability to extend out, so you can get that right position that you need it. Okay, so the sunroof. Take a look at that. It has a shade that covers up 100% of the light. So right now it's covered up completely. We can open it up, let some light in. Now if we want to vent it, we just push the vent button. It vents up. Or if we want to open it up, we can open it up. That's as far back as it goes. And we can close it up with a push of a button. And we can slide the shade closed. Okay, so let's take a look at the visibility in the back. Lots and lots of glass back there. Nice big glass, nice big window in the back. Then you have the side glass in the cargo area, and then you have the rear door glass. So lots of glass to see out of. Of course, you have the blind spot monitoring system, the cross path detection system. You also have the parking sensors, a backup camera, all that good stuff as an aid, but there's nothing like just looking out the window. Okay, so thank you for watching, and thank you to Van Underwood Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram here in Whiteville, North Carolina, for allowing me to show off a 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee Trailhawk. First one I've ever seen. It's new for 2017, and it's been a fun day checking it out. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.